Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It is the live game review to Everton's 2-1 defeat to Burnley at Goodison Park on Saturday. Got it right this time. I actually said we won 1-0 in the instant match reaction, and it wasn't until I watched it back that I was like, oh no, it is me in dreamland once again, hoping we'd won the game, but we didn't. We lost 2-1 to Burnley at Goodison Park, another home defeat, and another game goes by where you're sort of starting to think these games could cost us come the end of the season. Obviously the fight for Europe is still very much open, be it the Europa League, be it the Champions League, but we do, well, me certainly, I've sort of got this feeling now that if we do finish outside of, be it the Champions League or the Europa League, it's games like this that we're going to look back on at the end of the season and think we should have been picking up the 3 points there. We're joined by Tom again, as always, T-Logic 1991. Tom, another disappointing defeat. Again, a performance certainly in the opening sort of 15-20 minutes was okay. We had a shot off in the opening couple of minutes. As soon as they scored the goal, which we'll talk about a little bit later on, it all sort of fell to bits really. But it's another home game gone by where we've come up against the side that we expect to beat, and ultimately we come away with nothing out of the game. And you add this to Fulham and Leeds and Newcastle and West Ham, and the list goes on really. And you know, we're starting to compile quite a list of games where it's looking like it could cost us potential Europe. It's definitely cost us, you know, a lot of points this season. And again on Saturday, it seemed like same old story, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, it was no surprise to me, really. Yeah. I mean, we've done this all season, so like we've discussed before, it's all about like how expectations get raised through the season, you know, where we are and things like that. So I can get it from that point of view, but listen, you've just got to scrap it now. You've just got to forget about it and move on. We're worried about Champions League. I don't think we ever really had the intentions to sort of get into the Champions League, or ever think, or the squad never thought that they could actually achieve something like that. You know, you hear Gary Neville talking about Manchester United in most cases, saying they're not ready for a title challenge or to even be considered into that conversation yet. So you can say the same thing about Everton with Champions League. Yeah. They're just not ready, and they don't really take the sort of bull by the horns, as they say, and sort of just go for it and believe in it. And listen, we how many times we sat here now and we've looked at it and sort of said this is a big opportunity for Everton to go progress and go push into that and make a bit of a statement in the league, but they never quite do. They seem to sort of fold under pressure, and then they sort of regroup, and then they go again, and they'll probably bang in three random wins against Arsenal and Tottenham, don't they? So it's just the way this season is. And listen, if you look at how we've performed over the years, and how we've sort of 12th, 8th, 12th again, 11th, and all things like that. You know, we've got to just enjoy it and just hopefully I'm sort of work out the kinks. But in terms of looking at it as a progression, it's a very good season, isn't it? Yeah. So it's hard to take a defeat, especially against Burnley. You think you should win, but they turned up and done us over, didn't they? They had a very good game plan. That's it. Got done by dice ball.
That's it. They've done what many teams have done at Goodison Park this season, and that's turn up. And ultimately, I mean, we sat here on a number of occasions and spoke about, you know, why we can't seem to turn up at Goodison Park and do what we can do away from home. I mean, I think we've picked up 29 points out of 39 away from home this season, but we've also had 7 defeats at Goodison Park, and the games in which we've won, you know, we beat West Brom and Brighton at the start of the season. We beat Arsenal and Chelsea with fans in the stadium for both of those occasions, and we recently beat Southampton. Every other game we've played at home this season has either been a defeat or a draw, and most of them have been disappointing defeats to sides that we expect to turn up and beat. And you're right, you sort of look at it, and I think the frustration, and again more frustration, I suppose you can look at this either glass half full or glass half empty, as results pretty much went our way this weekend. I mean, with the exception of Leicester doing what you'd hope Everton could do one day and just turn up and blather a team that they're much better than by 5-0, and it'd be comfortable. Chelsea drop points. on Saturday morning. You had Tottenham dropping points yesterday to Arsenal. You had you've still got Liverpool to play. West Ham drop points to Man United. So again, it makes it it makes it a little bit more frustrating for me, because it seems like another missed opportunity for us to gain an advantage on the sides that are in and around us. But no, you're spot on. It was, again, I don't know what's more surprising or less surprising. Everton losing games at home at the moment to teams that we should be beating, or Everton not taking advantage of teams around us dropping points, because it seems to be the same argument week in, week out. And this one, for as much as, I'm not going to let myself, put it this way, in a game preview to a game like this before the end of the season, get me hopes up and say, yeah, we'll beat these, we're well better than these, we'll beat these, because it just seems to be something at Goodison Park where we just can't turn up and put a performance in. And I don't know whether it's struggling against teams that give us the ball and we have the majority of the possession, and we can't work with that. We've been very, very good this season when we've come up against sides who probably have got more quality than us and do have the ball a lot more, because we hold a decent defensive back line and we hit those teams on the counter attack. I think during the Chelsea game there was a stat on Sky Sports which said we were the most clinical team in the league in terms of, the shots and goals that we've scored. But at home, when teams say, yeah, you have the ball and you come at us, we just don't seem to be able to deal with that. I actually think we started okay. We had a shot within the first couple of minutes. In the first 15 and 20 minutes, we looked relatively comfortable. It wasn't, we weren't creating a plethora of opportunities, but, Burnley didn't really have much of the ball. We were controlling it. We were trying to get forward, and it almost seemed like we were poking at Burnley. And it was one mistake early on, which sort of just flipped the whole game on its head for me. It comes from Michael Keane playing Tom Davies a ball which he should never ever have been played to Tom Davies, who for me, and we're going to talk about in a second, is fouled on the ball, and Burnley push forward, and from that point on, for as much as we can sit here and we'll talk about the situation and Tom Davies and whether or not we think it was a foul, but ultimately Tom Davies loses the ball in the centre of midfield. Now I know it opens up space for them to hit us on the counter attack and get forward, etc., but he doesn't lose the ball in the 6-yard box. He doesn't lose the ball fannying about on the edge of the box. He doesn't lose the ball where whoever's picking it up is going face to face with the goalkeeper. He loses the ball near enough on the halfway line. That for me is no excuse for them to go up the other end and slot, and then us all stand in and go, that's Tom Davies' fault for losing the ball. Like, you might say he should have done better, he should have been stronger, etc, etc, but you'd have to look at the defenders. When that ball comes up, when Tom Davies loses that ball, we pretty much stand still. Michael Keane stands still. Mason Holgate just may as well not be there. Chris Wood gets into a position completely unmarked and kills it into the back of the net, and you're scratching your head and you're thinking, is it going to be another one of those days? It just, I suppose, again, we're not going to be able to put our finger on it, are we? Carlo Ancelotti talked about, I think, about the quality of the team and maybe in terms of playing open football and not having the quality to do that, but it's becoming really, really frustrating now that it seems like any team can come to Goodison Park and just not beat us, but turn into prime. But I mean, Burnley were very, very, very good on Saturday, very good. They deserved their win, but again, I'm having this argument with myself. Were Burnley very, very good, or did Everton do what we did when we played Fulham, do what we did when we played Newcastle, turn this Burnley team into looking like an absolutely fantastic side because we were that bad? It's frustrating, isn't it, Tom? Certainly when you consider where we are in the table and how good of a season it's been, and some of the wins that we've got, it makes games like this just feel a lot more frustrating, because you think we've got the ability to go out and beat these teams, but we just don't.
Well, I think it's a bit of a reality check in terms of what this Everton team is capable of. I mean, they're completely outperforming the numbers stats wise and things like that. But I think it's quite evident, and I've said this many times on this show and many others, that this Everton team simply cannot play attacking football. Yeah. It just cannot do it. We try and break teams down, they can't do it. We haven't got a right back who can go press on towards in the final third, or progress the ball in there. We haven't got a right back who can get crosses in like Luca Dean when he's having an off day. Yeah. He did have an off day. He had a really bad day at the office, Luca Dean. But just going on the first goal, I mean, Davies was getting absolute pelters. I mean, that ball was never on.
Yeah.
He didn't even look for it. Keane just played it into a poor position. Tom gets in front of the Burnley fella, and he goes through the back of him. Whether you think he's lightweight or what, yeah, maybe, but in this day and age, in this Premier League, that's a foul, and he is looking for it, yeah. But unfortunately, the ref just doesn't give it. But then from that point, if you stopped it from that point, the ball should have went to Holgate, simple as. Yeah. But from that point, if you freeze it on the point where Davies loses it, they've got 3 players breaking on the left hand side.
Yeah.
Right. So then you're looking at it, where you're pinpointing where players are. So Holgate's just watching what's happening. He hasn't dropped in. He's just literally standing there, ball watching. You've got Keane dropping back, and then you've got Allen just in front of where Davies is.
Yeah.
And Gomes from his position, he's just a little bit above the halfway line. Now, to me, that just seems like your midfield has got no structure whatsoever.
Yeah.
Gomes, if you're going to play this diamond and you're in possession from the defensive line, you need Gomes to drop in at least 10-20 yards back, to at least show Keane another path, or at least show a little bit of defensive structure. Because when you do run it on, in terms of what they do, Gomes is nowhere. Gomes gets the run on him. And then when you pause it, when he plays it in, and Keane he tries to get a foot to it, but it fails. You look at it; they've got 3 players on the edge of the box.
Yeah.
Like where's the midfield?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? We've tried to play out a stupid ball when, listen, as well as Keane's done this year, we all clearly know him. You can all probably agree he's not this ball playing defender. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the passing has gone up and has improved, but it's improved from a baseline Premier League player. Yeah. So in terms of that, that's my issue there for one. But listen, they go 1-0 down. It is what it is. You've got to regroup, and you sort of go on then, don't you? And you think, well, before that, the 20, I thought we were playing pretty well and breaking them down. We had a few chances for Charles and things like that. So yeah, I think from that point, I thought Ancelotti sort of panicked maybe a little bit and started to make shift and change it all around. Listen, these players he gives. I've said it many times. Ancelotti gives these players far too much credit to just adapt in match situations. They just simply can't do it, and that's just unfortunately that's what the cards we've got dealt with so far.
No, I agree. Well, we'll get into the starting 11 in a moment. Before we do that, before I forget, don't forget this video is being sponsored by the Football News 365 app. Absolutely fantastic app. Keeps you up to date with all of your latest Everton news, scores, predictions, table, fixtures, all of that good stuff. You can download it via the first link in the description. Really would appreciate it. Helps out the channel as well. Ran by an Evertonian as well, so would really help those out. So if you could download the link, Football News 365, link it in the top line of the description. They've kindly sponsored this video and many others on the channel recently as well. But we'll start with Carlo Ancelotti's starting 11 then. Obviously we had the usual back 4, back 5 if you like, with Jordan Pickford starting in goal, and we'll talk about Jordan's injury a little bit later on. You had Luca Dean at left back, Ben Godfrey was at centre half with Michael Keane as it's been for a while, and Mason Holgate at right back. Now obviously as soon as I seen Seamus Coleman on the bench, I knew for a start he wasn't fit enough to start the game, because the first thing I was thinking was Mason had an absolute stinker last time I was at right back. So if Seamus Coleman's match fit, he should have been in there. So it was very clear that the likes of Seamus and Gylfi Sigurdsson weren't ready to start the game whatsoever. You go into the midfield, you had Gomes, Davis, Allan, and Iwobi in there, and then you had Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison up front. And there was a big question before the game as to whether it would be Iwobi in the 10 in his preferred position. There's been a lot made about that, or whether it be a 4-3-3 as Carlo has spoken about in his pre-game press conference. One thing's for sure, Tom, and it was evident in the first 15-20 minutes with Burnley's first goal, is that midfield 3, take away your front 3 of Iwobi, Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison for a second, that midfield 3 of Davis, Gomes and Allan, for as much as individually they didn't have awful games, as a 3 I just think they didn't work whatsoever. There wasn't enough energy there whatsoever. It was evidently clear that we missed Abdoulaye Doucouré's energy for a start. We needed somebody who could get about the pitch constantly, who could pick the ball up, and like you said, you look at the first goal and there's nobody anywhere. Don't get me wrong, defensively it wasn't great either, because the defence completely allow all of the space in the world for Chris Wood, and I think, like you said, there was a couple of other Burnley players who could have put it in the back of the net. But the likes of Gomes and Alan were miles away from the ball. He weren't anywhere to be seen. You know, it was almost like they'd stopped and thought, well, that's their issue now. I don't have to sack back. That's the issue of the defence. And again, that worried me, because I sort of think that Carlo come out before the game and he said that, you know, we will, you know, it's not ideal that we haven't got Abdoulaye Doucouré, but we'll be able to adapt, and there's various players that can play in that Abdoulaye Doucouré role, and I completely disagree with that. I mean, I'm back Carlo Ancelotti, and he's won everything in football, so he knows a lot more than me, but I don't see any Everton player, certainly not in that first team squad, that can replace Abdoulaye Doucouré like for like. Can we change the formation about a little bit? Yes, potentially. Can we move players around and make it work? Probably, yeah, but there's certainly not any player, not one player that can come in and do that Doucouré role like for like. And I don't know about you, we just spoke about it off camera, about players sort of being asked to do roles that they're not really capable of doing. I feel like, again, Alan was maybe asked to do that Doucouré role again. I think he was asked to do it against Chelsea and he couldn't. He was off the pace. And I feel like he was asked to do it again on Saturday, and he just seemed like he was chasing shadows for the majority of the game. I mean, he was poor, Alan. He was really, really poor. And I get that he's coming back from an injury and he's had a long time out, and I understand that. But he was in there. He was in there from the start, and he was in there to perform, and he didn't perform. Obviously, the formation was a diamond. We had Iwobi in the 10, and we'll talk about Iwobi a little bit later on in this team. Do you sort of think? Do you think that works? Because I'm not convinced that diamond sort of. I think we rely a lot on opportunities from wide areas, and like you said, when you've got Mason Holgate at right back and you've got Luca Dean at left back, if Luca Dean's having a great game, then yeah, boss, he's putting balls in left, right and centre, we're creating chances, it's great. But when Luca Dean has an off day, which he very much did have an off day on Saturday, you've got no width then whatsoever, have you? And if Burnley just say, right, we'll just focus down the middle, I just think we got found out pretty quickly, and then the longer the game went on, we couldn't really string 2-3 passes together. Their midfield-wise, they just walked it past us. It was nice 1-2s, and there was far too many times they got in areas with loads of space, and they probably could have done a lot better with the ball. And we allowed that to happen. And again, I don't want to sit here and go on about how much we missed Doucouré, but it seemed like having that player that's constantly getting about the pitch, it seemed like we missed him again massively on Saturday.
Yeah, listen, the thing is, you missed Doucouré in that diamond formation. That's what you miss. Like, it's not really that you miss. Listen, it's a squad game, and you should be able to be capable to beating a team like Burnley without Abdoulaye Doucouré. But if you're gonna play a player in that diamond who can go box to box, and who necessarily, you look at that first goal and you could suggest that Doucouré would probably make that. Not necessarily make it, I mean, in terms of getting just outside the box, because he's a senior and he's got the pace and he's got the work rate to go be there. I mean, in terms of the formation start, I thought the first 20 minutes was very good in terms of attacking play. I thought Iwobi, Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison were playing well, doing some lovely interchanging play. I think the first one was Iwobi interchanging play with Richarlison, plays a nice little ball through the line, breaks Burnley apart, and then go inside and score. I mean, it was a good save by Pope. But I keep saying it, Ancelotti's flogging a dead horse if you keep thinking that this team is going to show you any difference in that diamond or any shape using a 3 in midfield if you haven't got Abdoulaye Doucouré in it. It's just simple as that. I mean, for me, I hope Mina comes back, because then you could probably suggest that Godfrey will go right back. Yeah. So maybe in terms of going forward, and I think, to be honest with you, he's just a better defender than Mason Holgate. So I think that could be a major boost for Everton. I think going forward, he's gonna have to look at it in terms of when we're chasing games. He seems to do this thing where he will take away sort of a defensive structure just to get into more of attacking situations. So, like, in terms of taking Davis off, he leaves Gomes in a 2 with Allen, but then yet gives Gomes the license to go roam 40 yards out of position. And we got caught a few times in that situation. So I think match situations like that, we've always had a bit of an issue with Ancelotti's sort of substitutions, but managers have different views and they sort of trust different players. I mean, we could all sit here and say Sigurdsson shouldn't even get in this team, but he trusts them. So in terms of that, and same as Gomes, so you just got to deal with that. But I think moving forwards, I think the best route would probably be sort of like Godfrey right back, and then you bring Mina Keane in. But then I'd like to just see Allen and Davies do like a sort of double pivot, where you see the roles the weekend, and you sort of see Davies playing a bit more advanced than Allen. You thought that just doesn't look right. Doesn't seem they didn't look comfortable, and they look like they were playing new roles. So I know Davies obviously set the goal up, but in terms of the whole team, setting the team up and the system, I think if Allen was doing that role to just go sort of harry players and sort of break down players further up the pitch, then that'd shoot him down to the ground. And I think dictating play from between Keane and Godfrey is perfect for what Davies' game. So I'd like to see that going forward. And I mean, in terms of Iwobi's had a lot of heat, hasn't he? But I think people already set the stalls out before that game happened for what he said through the week. And listen, on terms of that, if the managers put it to bed, then why are fans continuing to bring it up? To me, it was very good management from Carlo Ancelotti, man management. He literally poured water over probably a bit of a messy situation, and he just said, "Well, I'm your manager. I'll put you there. That's your favourite position, and I'll say there." And listen, that's what your manager wants. You don't want your manager to turn around and just call sort of like have issues with that. Yeah, I had an issue with the fact that he done it on Instagram. Yeah, could have been dealt with better, but it got dealt with, sorted. And look, listen, Ancelotti put it on Iwobi's toes because he put him in that position.
Yeah.
So in terms of what he done, and I thought Iwobi, just on him, for the 30 minutes he was playing in that number 10 role, he played well.
Yeah.
And he looked like he was up for the game, and he looked like he was there to prove a point. Yeah. Which you want. So in terms of moving forward, I wouldn't put Iwobi on the right mid. It's just it's a waste of time and a wasted opportunity. So I'd like to see him either in that 10 or on the left side. And the one thing that I'm yet to see is Richarlison playing on the right. Yeah. He's we've seen it many a times through other seasons where he's sort of that out and out winger type where he's just direct.
Yeah.
He's just a direct player. So listen, we could dissect it all day and every day, and at the end of the day, me personally, I just thought Burnley played well, and that's him. Our top players just never turns up, and a bad day at the office, and you've just got to put it to bed, haven't you?
That's it, exactly. And I think what's evidently clear is that this team and these players, confidence-wise, at home, is just shattered. It's absolutely on the floor. I think even the Southampton game, if Southampton weren't so bad, they could have potentially gotten back into the game, and you would have liked to have hoped that Everton have gained on that Southampton win and maybe picked up a bit of momentum. And look, maybe we would have if, the next couple of games were in a difficult one at West Brom and then a defeat to Chelsea. Maybe we would have taken momentum into this one, but I just think the confidence at Goodison Park at the moment is on the floor, and I think it's becoming a bit of a burden, to be honest. I think the players are turning up at Goodison with that thought process in mind of, we've lost 7 at home this season, we haven't really been great, we haven't been playing really well, and ultimately that's something that Ancelotti needs to smash out the park, don't he?
No, but just on that, Cam, there's no fans there, so there shouldn't be. I don't know what the issue is. I can't sort of work it out myself. I'm trying to work out whether do we change anything different when we go away? Yeah, probably. We're sort of better just defensively structured. The players seem to just be on the ball when they're away from home, and when they're at home, they sort of take the foot off the gas. But in terms of, I think the difference is that we try and play this attacking football, and we just haven't got it.
No, I agree.
We just can't. We just simply can't do it. So you're looking at like sort of the in terms of what the possession and things like that. The possession was like 60% Everton and 33% Burnley. But that's like the old adage is like, well, if you've got that, there's no point in having that much possession if you're going to do with the ball.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Because if you look at both shots, Burnley have 14, Everton have 14.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Shots on target were 5 for Burnley. Shots on target for 4. So this whole possession thing and trying to break teams down, we're not at that stage yet. And listen, you've got to factor in. I know others been moaning other teams where like they moaning about injuries and things like that, but we're missing big players.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we can't afford to miss them big players. Absolutely. Other teams can because they've got big squads.
Yeah.
Other teams can because they go win leagues the year before and win Champions Leagues, but one player sort of puts you from 1st to 8th.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In terms of that. So like, but with Everton have always had a team. I've had a very good 11 in terms of you look at Moyes' era and things like that. But when you ever took one or two out of that 11, it fall apart. Yeah. And that's unfortunately where we are at this moment in time. And you've just got to sort of be patient and hopefully recruitment-wise in the summer and the summer after that, then you build this squad that you can sort of keep the levels of performance.
Absolutely, and it's going to be a massive summer this season, arguably bigger than last season. We will get in the comments in a moment. Massive thanks to everybody for leaving a live comment. Ronald McFarnold Rongo has donated the 79 pence donation. Ronald McFarnold Rongo, that's a mouthful.
Should have done an Ancelotti, shouldn't I?
Big thanks for the donation, mate. Really appreciate it. We will get in the comments, like I said, in a moment. But yeah, no, I agree. I think Everton are much better and much more suited. This Everton team, certainly, when we're coming up against teams that have a lot of the ball and that are expected to win, and we're sort of the underdog, and we're the team that, you know, sits back and hits them on the counter attack and sort of strikes, if you like a venomous snake. Whereas when we're the venomous snake at home and we're sort of the team in control of the ball, we sort of like, we don't know what to do with this. What do we do here? How do we come forward? How do we play, you know, nice 1-2 passes? We're great when, you know, that we've got the pressure on us and we have to hit teams and we're the team that are sort of counter-attacking. But when we're in control of the ball, when we're expected to take the game to opposition teams, we just don't seem to be able to do it at the moment. And it is really confusing because you look at the start of the season, again, you know, the first couple of games, you look at West Brom at home, Brighton at home, even West Ham at home in the Carabao Cup. Those 3 games, we were playing fantastic football. We were taking the game to sides. We were comfortable with the ball. We were playing nice passes. We were breaking the lines. We were scoring goals consistently. Whereas now, I think ever since, and I don't want to put this, I'm not putting the blame down to this. Wormy has donated £1 as well. Thank you very much, Wormy. Really appreciate that. Honestly, it really means a lot to us. I don't want to put it down to this because I don't want to sound like I'm saying, oh, we should never have changed the style. But it seems like from that game against Chelsea at Goodison Park, where we changed our style to Godfrey at left back, Allgate at right back, Meenan and Keane at centre half, defend and hit teams on the counter. It seems like from that moment on, the players just become comfortable with that, and that's all now we want to play. That's how we want to play in every game, and we don't want to play that football that we were at the start of the season when we were just taking the game to teams and we were enjoying, you know, playing, and I suppose enjoyment is a big word as well, confidence and enjoyment. The players just don't seem like they're enjoying themselves at the moment, and you know, it's worrying, certainly when you consider, I know we've spoke about, you know, expectation, and the expectation at the start of the season was here, and the expectation now is here because of how well we've done in terms of the games in which we've won. I mean, 29 points away from home from 39 is you know, title winning form. You know, if we'd have sorted out our form at Goodison Park, we'd have been in and around the top 3, never mind Champions League places. If we'd have won the games we should have won at Goodison, we'd be in the top 2 at the moment. We'd have picked up an extra 15-20 points or something like that.
Can't we even if they draw them, mate?
Exactly, we'd be in a much better position.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You know, you're looking in terms of like, we could have done this, we could have done that, but in terms of Everton at this very moment in time, you know, they've got to stick to this work rate football and try and grind teams out of it and let teams have the ball. Yeah. There's no fans there, no one's going to get on your back. Do it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, like we're just beating this drum in terms of like, it's the same game plan these teams are coming to Goodison with, exactly the same. Sit back, break, press on certain players in midfield and break. Yeah. That's what they do. That's just that we've seen that in West
teams
Ham.
do what we do to teams, don't they? And we can't cope with it.
Exactly. Like it's like we've got like sort of two teams. We've got a home Everton team that are relegation, and then we've got an away team that are brilliant and that are you're thinking, look at it, and you know, you look at it and you think, no, they've done brilliant there. Like they're not the best technically and outperforming with football wise and things like that, but they're just grinding the feet out and they're playing well. Yeah. So like, just take that and just do the exact same. I don't know why listen, the main issue for me, and whether fans like it or not, the main issue was that Ancelotti totally bottled it.
Yeah.
You have a full week of preparing tactics, things like that, and in the space of 30 minutes, you've just totally changed it, wiped it off the floor. Now, all of a sudden, you've just gone to a 4-4-2, and you've put a lad out on the right mid who's been through the week saying he doesn't want to play there.
Yeah.
You're looking at it. You're sort of looking at a structure where you're thinking Allen, Gomes, and Davies are poor in terms of the midfield, but then you go and put Gomes left mid. Yeah. Like, do you know what I mean? It was sort of a bit too pattern. Listen, yeah, players should be able to adapt in match situations, but they can't. Yeah. So when you're trying to play a 4-2-2-2 with Gomes and Iwobi on the right and the left, that's just
never working.
No, it's never working.
Never.
And in terms of looking at it, thinking, right, well, let's be honest, right? What I thought he could, in hindsight's obviously a wonderful thing, isn't it? What he should have done was put Richarlison. If he wanted to change it, he should have put Richarlison on the right, Iwobi on the left, and got Gomes right out of dodge and put him up with Calvert-Lewin just to see how he did.
Yeah, or even take him off because he wasn't doing much, was he?
Well, I mean, taking him off after 30 minutes.
To be honest, with the Gomes situation, listen, I like Andre Gomes and I think he's a decent footballer, and I think if you were playing, you know, on a five-a-side game and he turned up, you'd be like, oh my god, who's this kid? He's brilliant. His ball control's great. He can pass a ball. He holds it up well. But you look at Premier League football and his effectiveness in games and what does he bring? He doesn't bring goals. He doesn't bring assists. He's not really like, you know, okay, at times this season he's made a couple of good passes that have led to, you know, goal scoring opportunities. But for the most part, it's very much simple, nice, easy balls, you know, here and there, left to right, backwards, forwards, and it's nothing that you look at him and you think he's a luxury player. Well, James Rodriguez is a luxury player who'll have a moment of magic that'll win you the game.
James Rodriguez is a luxury player who's got end product and is effective. Yeah. That's just it is. You can't be a luxury player and not do anything.
Not be effective, yeah.
Dimitar Berbatov, if you remember him, he was a luxury player, but he was brilliant at what he done. Yeah. This lad has like I put a tweet out I was like, I don't think I've seen a bigger damage in a football player than Andre Gomes. Yeah. Like, this lad was touted as winning a Ballon d'Or.
Yeah.
Like, that's the level he was seen at, and that's the level he was playing at Valencia.
Yeah.
Now we went to Barcelona, and yeah, all right, he understands things like that, pressure and mental health and things like that. I totally get it. I totally understand it. But in terms of that pressure's not at Everton.
Yeah.
That pressure was never at Everton. He come to Everton and he was playing well, but at times when you do look back at it, Garner was doing a lot of it.
Yeah.
Doing a lot of his defensive duties,
allowing him to be a luxury player.
Yeah, exactly, and he could afford to start spraying balls. Now you look at him and you think, he can't even pass.
Yeah.
He can't pass. He can't create. I'll have to get his creative chances up, but from off the top of my head, I don't think he's in the top four. I think Richarlison and Iwobi create more with Sigurdsson and obviously James Rodriguez than him. Now you look at it and you're thinking, well, if he can't create from a midfield point and he can't defend, then what is he?
Yeah.
What does he do?
Yeah.
And it's not in terms of like sort of rinsing him and no one can tell me his role. What's his role?
Yeah.
If you look at Davies, right? Yeah, all right. But Davies is a 6 who can dictate play, and he's a little bit press resistant. Davies, even though he got the ball took off him, right? But on the overall thing of Davies, he's quite press resistant. Yeah. He's quite good at keeping the ball and keeping possession and things like that. You've got Alan, who's a bit of a workhorse who'll go pressure teams out of midfield, go harry them, and plus as well, he can dictate play as well in times against lesser opposition. Sometimes, Alan, especially when he's fit, you've got to factor that in. But then you look at Takore, box to box midfielder, right? That's ticked. Even Gabaman, you could sort of say a little bit of a box to box, not as what Takore is, but he can sit in front of defences and do a job like that. Then you get to Andre Gomes. What's his position? Yeah. No one can tell me.
Yeah. Well, Semi says in the comments, hard to identify what Gomes offers.
Exactly. It's what he offers, but it seems like, what's his role? Yeah. I don't know his role.
Yeah. It seems like he's just in there because he must train very well. And I'm sure he is a brilliant guy to have around. He seems like a genuine guy. He seems like he's down to earth, and he must just be a hard worker on the training pitch, and he's put in there because I think Ancelotti has these players, and it's players that he trusts, and you can flip it and look at the players maybe he doesn't trust in some of the younger players and why they aren't getting an opportunity. But I feel like Andre Gomes is sort of in there because he's just like, I trust Andre Gomes. He can go in there. He won't do anything of note, but most of the time he'll be all right. But all right isn't good enough, and as a defender, he's so poor. Like you said, when you've got a midfielder who can't defend and doesn't create or score goals up top, he just hovers around the middle, really, doesn't he?
Listen, it might sound a little bit too extreme at this point, but players like that with previous managers have got them sacked.
Yeah.
Fact. You can't deny it. You look at what Morgan Schneiderlin, you look at what Sigurdsson, what he was consistently played out of position, and Silva just wouldn't let up with it. Yeah. He refused to, but we all seen it week by week, and we were turning up knowing the outcome.
Yeah.
Because you'd seen the team and you looked. So if you continue flogging this, there's only going to be one outcome.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just the way it is. So I understand. He's one of the professionals and one of the older statesmen in the team. But from what he produces and what we're getting wages wise, and you factor all that in, like, there's got to be a certain point where you've got to take a risk and just put one of the young lads in. You've got to. Yeah. You have to. Like, I understand on Yango and things like that, but then switch it, put King on. Yeah. Put Davies in a double pivot with Allen.
Yeah.
Like, just take him out of the whole situation, because when Davies come off, and we all probably done the exact same. We all sighed and went, game over.
Yeah.
We all done it. Everyone done it. You couldn't look at that and think, right, that two centre mids look brilliant. Especially the way Alan was playing. Yeah. Alan could have got dragged off.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you would have had no complaints. It was just a weird situation, and then he's done that before, Ancelotti, and the game just peters out. It just, because you've left a fella on who can't defend and effectively doesn't try and create or anything. Like where you're saying James Rodriguez is a luxury player, but he's so effective. Yeah. He's so effective around that box.
Yeah. As is Gylfi Sigurdsson. I suppose you could say Gylfi's a luxury player, but he's the same. He creates, he scores.
He creates, but he's a different. He's not a playmaker as such. Gomes, Sigurdsson, because he doesn't do it often.
Yeah.
He has that one little instant where he will play, but majority of the time Sigurdsson's trying to get in the box. And let's be honest, most of the time he's on set pieces. Yeah. So that sort of pads the numbers in terms of what he's creating and things like that. Yeah. But listen, that's a tool that Sigurdsson's got it, and it's very good. But in terms of what Gomes, listen, he'd be on the chopping block for me this summer. I mean, but will he? No, especially when you look at the news reports that Sigurdsson's getting a new contract and things like that. You think, well, he's certainly not going nowhere as well, then, is he?
Absolutely. If you're enjoying the stream, by the way, so far, please do hit that like button. It does only take a second. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe as well. If you could share the stream, it would mean a great deal to us. Let's get into some of the comments then, and then I want to talk about the second goal and just basically how we felt a bit as soon as Chris Wood buried the first. Manuel says, absolutely atrocious, utterly shambolic. We won't get into the Europa League. We have to beat West Ham and all the remaining teams, which we know won't happen. Another top 8 finish into irrelevance is the harsh reality. Got to sort out the trash in the summer. The Iwobis, Gomes, Bernards, Holgates, Kings, Sigurdssons, and get get ourselves real warriors who are asked to sweat and work against lesser sides. Dave says, possible chance of getting into Europe and we have a team that turned up half-cocked. Can't think 2 passes together. Semi says, greetings fellow Blues, summer transfer window is going to be very, very interesting. It certainly is. And he says, I don't think Richie will be here next season. I think he'll have to leave. Semi agrees. Okay. He says, indeed, Europe or he's leaving has been the speculation.
I mean, just on the Richarlison thing, I don't think he will. I mean, you've got to take your Everton rose-tinted glasses off and look at them and look at what Richarlison's done. Can anyone wholeheartedly say that someone's going to come in and pay 80-odd million for Richarlison at this moment in time? No, they're not.
And we won't sell him for less.
Well, you don't know, do you? I mean, in terms of, listen, if Everton got that 60 million in or 70 million in on a Richarlison, that is massive in terms of what Everton can go on and produce. Like, people get too emotional with players these days. Like, they come and go. Like, it is what it is. Like, football. We've had Lukaku, we've had Kale, we've had Yakubus, you know what I mean? We've had Gravesons. They all come and go and they get replaced. But the only issue when it comes down to it, when they don't get replaced properly, that's the only issue comes.
That's where Everton come in.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. So, but you're looking at it now and you think, well, would you trust Marcel? But if Everton got rid of Richarlison, and what did we pay, like 30-odd million it was?
Yeah, 35.
With obviously add-ons and things like that. If Richarlison went for 60 to 70 million, right, and then you add on the Moise Kean money, then you add on like Bernard's wages going off the bill. Maybe if you could take a Gomes off, but in things like that, you've got Walcott going in the summer, you've got Balassi going, that all tots up in FFP.
Yeah.
Now you're looking at FFP in terms of, like, so how much would you say? Let's just say Everton raked in with Richarlison leaving. Maybe this is just hypothetical. I'm not saying get rid of him. I'm just saying you're looking at 120 million maybe around that area of income. That doubles in FFP of what you can spend.
Yeah.
Now if Everton do anything and can get into Europe, that's huge.
Yeah,
that's monstrous, and you've just got to have faith in Ancelotti and brands to go do it. But Leicester have done it.
Yeah,
Leicester have done it
numerous times.
Dortmund have done it.
Yeah,
Liverpool done it. You've got to sell. You've got to have high value assets in your team.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've got to go and progress. Because there's no other way you can do it. We're not Manchester City. We can't do it that way. We're not Manchester United. We can't do it that way. You know what I mean? Yeah. We're not Chelsea either. So you've got to find ways to bridge this gap and to keep on to players for years with no sellable sell-on fee. It's daft.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? You look at Maguire, 80 million. Look what they've done.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying, you know what I mean?
Absolutely, I agree. Dave says, why is it that we can never have one or two players having an off day? Most of the team turn up bloody useless at the moment. DCL is a one-trick pony, needs to watch Vardy vids, great outlet. And God says, at this point we could put 10 Ben Godfreys on the field, at least they would fight, play and fight to win. Dave also says, agree about Richie, Europe and a good transfer window. He looks even more pissed off than usual. Semi says, hi Gords. Wormy says, hi, how's everybody? Semi says, love Richie, but I can imagine we can make a tardy sum for him if he wishes to leave the club. No one's bigger than the club, not one player. And Andy says, Richie is a good player, but if he ain't happy, get rid. That goes for any of them that aren't happy. Want players who put a shift in and feel proud to wear the blue shirt like Big Duncan did. Well, we'll get into that, and you know, we want to, obviously the summer transfer window is massive for us, and we all know that. As it was last season, it is this season. Let's get back into the game then. Chris Wood puts Burnley 1-0 up, and it was against the run of play for me. Don't get me wrong, Everton weren't absolutely peppering Burnley. We weren't unbelievable. We started the game relatively well. We were relatively comfortable, and you're sort of sitting there thinking, right, okay, you know, we can get something out of this game. First couple of minutes, like Tom says, Richarlison has the effort from the pass from Iwobi. And you're thinking, can this be the game where we actually turn up and play attacking football and play it well and win a game? Chris Wood puts Burnley 1-0 up completely, like I said, up the other end. Davis gets caught. For me, I agree with Tom. I think it's a foul. Plus, I think he should never have been receiving the ball there. And then to add to that, just because a midfield player has lost the ball on the halfway line doesn't mean that everyone goes, right, that's it, he's lost the ball on the halfway line, we'll concede now and we'll all put our fingers at him. No, the defence were absolutely atrocious. They completely allowed Chris Wood and two other Burnley players about 10 miles of space to pick their chance, and the rest of the midfield, i.e. your Allans, your Gomez's, just completely watched Burnley, come into our area and have the opportunity. And as soon as he went 1-0 up, there was a part of me that thought, that's it, we won't get back into this now, because the confidence was already on the floor and now it's going to be even worse. But there was a part of me that thought, no, you know what? That's a mistake from Michael Keane, a mistake from Tom Davies, whatever you want to call it. Just pick your heads up and get back into this game now, because we can get at Burnley, we can create. We've already shown we've done that in the opening couple of minutes. Pick yourselves back up and go again. And sort of, again, there wasn't really a reaction. We were trying to create. Iwobi, like you said, it was in the 10. He was trying to pick the ball up and create, but there wasn't a massive reaction whatsoever. And then, all of a sudden, Dwight McNeil picks it up in the midfield. He absolutely sells Alan. Bloody hell, he stuck a price tag on Alan and scanned him, and then turns in and curls it into the top left-hand corner. It's an excellent finish, to be fair, by Dwight McNeil, but for me, I said this on Twitter as it happened, for as good as it is a finish, why is he given that much space on the edge of the box? Why is Alan just completely selling himself? Alan may as well have lied on the floor and went to our player in there, mate. It's just far too easy. And as soon as Alan what it reminded me of? It reminded me of the Sigurdsson goal against Leicester a couple of years ago, where he turns Maddison and he hits it from 25-30 yards. This was very, very similar. He turned Alan, and as soon as Alan went on the floor, I thought, that's it. He's just completely done him. He's either going to take a shot or he's going to come into the box and create another opportunity. Takes a shot. Again, Jordan Pickford can't do anything about it. Don't think Jordan Pickford could have done anything about the first goal either, to be honest. We will talk about Jordan, because obviously he picked up that injury, which is disappointing. Burnley go 2-0 up, and you're sort of thinking, from our first 15 minutes where we've been alright to 2-0 down against Burnley at home, now if it wasn't an uphill battle at 1-0, it was like Mount Everest with flip-flops on at 2-0, because Burnley, again, a notorious side we spoke about before the game, of defending really well and playing the way they play and doing that really well, not changing the way they play, not being asked if it's nice football or how brilliant it is to watch, just playing to win and being effective. And like I said, it was always going to be never mind an uphill battle. It was just like pretty much an impossible feat. And you go 2-0 down, and you're sort of thinking at that point, do these players have the backbone now to get back into this game? Do these players have the ability to shake that off and go, no, you know what, we're not losing this, we're getting back into it? And it sort of just felt like they were going through the motions from that point on. I think, like you said, Tom, Ancelotti changed the system, and when he changed the system back to a 4-4-2, and you had, like you said, Gomes on one of the wings, Iwobi on the other one, when he clearly didn't want to play there, that consistency just went out the window then. And like I said, I just think players just felt like, right, just get this one over and done with.
Well, before that even Dwight McNeil goal, I think Mason Olney was very, very lucky not to give away a penalty from the with the handball. Don't know what his arms doing up there. I think what got away with it was the fact that it weren't quite decisive whether it hit his arm first or Ben Mee's head first. Yeah. So I think we got away with that one. And listen, the Dwight McNeil goal,
Is that a case, in your opinion, of, that's just a bit of absolute magic quality and you can't really avoid that? Or do you sort of do what I do and pick, well, why is he on his own with 25 yards out? Why has he got that space? Why has Alan just completely sold himself? How do you sort of sit on goals like that? Because I suppose it could go either way.
Well, if you pause it when Vidra gets it, there's three lads in line in a matter of 3 yards, and it's Gomes, Godfrey and Dean. So if you go and look at it and pause it, and then in front of him is Richarlison, and then when you see, I think it is Lowton, I think it is number 2 anyway for Burnley, he's running off them to go in behind, and then McNeil's coming in to sort of receive the ball, and you're looking at it and you think, well, Keane's centre half, you've got Alan dropping in to be the centre half, so where are our midfield again?
Yeah.
So wait, what's got, like, this is my issue with it. Them three had a nightmare. They didn't know what they were doing.
Absolutely.
And Gomes goes to press the ball. Yeah, he leaves his man.
Yeah.
To go running behind. So it was just daft. And that main issue, like once that ball gets played into Dwight McNeil and he turns, yeah, Alan could have sort of not sold himself as such, but listen, these are Premier League players. I mean, he's absolutely sold them, hasn't he? You know what I mean? He's gone to shoot and he's just lovely, just caressed the ball away from him, stretched out, and listen, what can you do from that point? No. He's just it topping. Yeah. You've just got to hold your hands up and go worldy, and that's it. Yeah. And right-sided video coming out, innit? Yeah. I did mention this lad before this game. That was pre-recorded, so before anyone says I'm throwing in Dwight McNeil's name.
It's going out tomorrow, and I can assure you it was recorded on Thursday.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, why did I open my mouth about him?
No, it's not out yet, so luckily enough, for a little disclaimer, this was recorded pre-Burnley. Everyone will go, of course you're going to say Dwight McNeil, he's just scored a worldie.
Yeah, no, even that though, you'd have probably said, why did you open your mouth? He's just buried one. Yeah. Typical Everton, but I mean, it's just a very, very good goal. Yeah, it just is. You can set it up a lot more better in terms of the midfield structure and things like that. But once he receives that ball, turns, just rolls it across his body, empties it, just pulls it out nice and just turns it in, mate. And it's good night Vienna on them points. And I thought they will switch this game off now. Yeah, because it dawned on you. It just dawns on you that the fact that this is just another game that Everton are gonna go get beaten. They go on from that, but they show a little bit of fight though. Yeah. They brought back in, scored a good goal, but
and I have an issue. Yeah, I have an issue. Sorry about that. I have an issue with after the goal that we scored, and we'll talk about that in a second. But no, I agree. I think the one thing that really, really, really hurt us on Saturday was, like you just said, the positioning of the midfield was atrocious. It was like, and I said this on, I think I said it on the instant match reaction, it was like we at the start of the season, these players in this group were playing as a team. Everybody knew their role, everybody knew what they had to do. James knew where Richarlison was, James knew where Dean was, Gomes knew where he needed to be, Alan knew where he needed to be, Decore knew where, I don't know, Calvert-Lewin was. They were playing as a team, as a unit, as they were together. It was all very calculated. Now, it seems to me like it's 11 players who almost as if we'd gone in the street and gone, you'll do, you two will do, you'll do over there, you over there, come on, you can play left back. And nobody really knows the role, nobody really knows where they need to be, what they need to be doing. There's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of, like I said, we can't place 3 passes in a row, never mind, go and create a good plethora of opportunities to score. And that for me was what hurt us massively on Saturday, was the midfield specifically as a 3. They can't play together. Those 3 just can't play individually, and this is the issue I have with Everton. Individually, you look and you think, is Gomes a good footballer? Yeah, he is. Is Alan a really good footballer? Yeah, and Alan may be exempt a little bit because he's coming back from injury. Dave is a good footballer? Yeah, he is. But certainly, them 3 as a pairing, they were everywhere. They were nowhere. They were everywhere and nowhere. And by everywhere, I mean they were everywhere apart from where they needed to be. They'd wait, they'd stop. Like I said, both Burnley goals, no one was anywhere to be seen. There was no midfield presence, and that's what Decore brings is a presence. He's always there. He's always picking the ball up. He's always getting in people's faces. He's always taking it back. He's always, his passing mightn't be great and his hold-up play mightn't be brilliant, but he's always that player that's causing the opposition a nuisance. On Saturday, it felt like Burnley would just have to play a nice 1-2 passes around us, and that was it. It was like when you play, I don't know what the game's called, it's not table football, and the ball goes past your midfield, and then they just stay in a row, and it's just like, yeah, that's it, it's gone past us now. We don't have to move now, we'll wait until it comes back our way, and then we'll do something then. But it's gone past us there, we don't run, we'll just wait and see what the defenders do. There was no help from the midfield for the defenders, there was no movement, it was just really, really poor for me, and like I said, it wasn't just that cost us. It was, I don't think defensively we were very good either. I think Mason Holgate had a shocking game. I think at right back we really, and we're gonna, that video's coming out as well, like Tom was just mentioned about right hand sides and right backs. I think it's evidently clear now, isn't it, Tom, that a right back is just numero uno priority in the transfer window.
Yeah, I mean, it stuck out like a sore thumb, but just going on to the midfield, I mean, you're totally right. these three just can't play with each other. I mean, the diamond didn't help at all because yet again we're trying to shoehorn a player in who we've seen numerous times into a Decore role that just simply cannot do it.
Yeah.
So you're looking at the first half, and in terms of the first half, you could count maybe 4 times where Burnley press in Everton's half.
Yeah.
In Everton's half, go try and press Keane, and then they know where it's going. They're going to go to Davies, 3-4 of them, bang, straight on, go press.
Yeah.
So you look at that and you think, well, just switch them round. Like just drop Keane. Just drop Davies and Allen into a situation where it's just tight.
Yeah. Where
we can afford to just keep them there, and even after they could have been after Dwight McNeil scored. Allen tries to play a ball into
Calvert-Lewin.
Into Iwobi.
Oh, okay.
He gets the ball and he tries to play the ball into Iwobi, and they lose it. And then again, they've pressed them in our half, and they've broke, and they hit the post.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, that's where Pickford got injured.
Yeah, that's where Pickford got injured. So, when you look at it could have been 4-0 before the half. So that's why I think Ancelotti's changed it, because he knows that formation was just getting outrun.
Yeah.
Listen, fair play to Burnley and Sean Dyche. Come with a plan. They seen it, they executed it,
and they outworked us as well, I think. And you mentioned that effort there. I can't remember who it was, but he strikes the post, and you're sort of thinking this has gone from being comfortable for Everton to one mistake in the midfield or one mistake in the defence, going 1-0 down. Teams like, and I'm not by any means trying to compare us to Manchester City, by the way, but teams like Manchester City had conceded that and gone, that's a poor goal to concede, that, get your heads up and go again, just go and make the most of your opportunities now. Whereas we just seem to fall completely, just astronomically fast down it. It was like we were walking up bloody Everest with our flip-flops on, and we fell back down it, and within the space of 10 or 15 minutes they get another one and go 2-0, then they hit the post to go potentially go 3-0, and they're just completely bombarding us at this point. And it's just, again, it's shades of every other home performance we've had this season where we've lost to a side we shouldn't have lost to, and I think we were all in the same boat as to thinking this is game, set and match here. Pickford goes down. Go on, mate. Sorry, before you go.
No, I'm just going to make a point where we were talking about Holgate right back. The key area there is Decore. Decore was facilitating all the running down that right hand side when James was playing on the left, so we missed that massively. As good of a player as a footballer Davies is, he just hasn't got the work rate to do the defensive side. No. So we've got to look. Again, we're probably going to have to look if Gabaman doesn't come back and he's not ready, then obviously they're gonna have to go get another midfielder like Decore and have two of them in the midfield. And I think then you can afford then to start rotating Decore, because the lad looked like he was just burning fumes at some times, when he looked absolutely drained every game. So that's a bit of a point to sort of try and help Holgate out with, is the fact that he never really had much defensive help.
Yeah, no, I agree, and he did struggle, Holgate, and he struggled going forward as well, and I just think positioning wise over the last couple of games, even the Chelsea game, where again we can draw a line under it and say Chelsea, they're a very good side, but even in that game for the first goal, he runs completely out of position, he runs into a midfield position, and you just think that, I like Mason Holgate, and I think he's got a future, and I think he's a really good young talented centre half. He's not a right back, and the sooner we bring in a right back the better. But like you said, lad has the shot, can't remember who it was, my apologies, it's the post. Jordan goes down.
I think it was
Goodmanson, I think it might have been, I think it was. I had Vestergaard in my head for some reason, who plays for Southampton. So I'm still getting nightmares of that Vestergaard opportunity. It's all just coming into one. I think it was Goodmanson. Takes the shot, hits the post. Pickford dives for it and obviously hurts himself. I think it was a reoccurrence, to be fair, to the injury that he'd had in the last couple of weeks or so, be it the hip or the side or whatever it was. Goes down, gets back up, to be fair to him, tries to continue, and about 5 or 10 minutes later he's down again, and you're sort of thinking, that's his game done. And you're looking at the bench and you're thinking you've got João Virginia, who's never played a Premier League game, and Harry Tyler, who's I think 16, 17 years old, and the reality sort of settles in that Robin Olsen still isn't ready and he's still injured, and you're sort of thinking, oh my God, is this going to go from bad to worse? But to be fair to Jordan, when he was on the pitch, and we've got a video pre-recorded about Jordan Pickford that'll be going up in the next couple of days, do you agree that he couldn't have done much for either goal, really? You don't think he was at fault, was he?
I mean, the second goal, not even a chance. Yeah. I don't even think an 8-foot goalie would get that. Yeah. It was absolutely outstanding finish. Second goal, I just think bodies were in front of him, and sort of he done well Wood to just guard it, to just use Ben Godfrey as a sort of a post to just bend round them, and sort of that was it really. I mean, when you look at them, no, not really. He was just there were sort of situations where they were going in no matter what, weren't they? I think we sold ourselves dry in them terms, but it was all when he was going off, I thought, well, that's the issue then. As much times as you can say we need a new goalie and things like that, but the reality, it's when things like that come to fans when that happens. Jordan Pickford coming off the pitch, and then João Virginia, who, like you said, never played a Premier League game in his life, had a really poor spell at Reading. Yeah. So you're just looking at it thinking, this is just the football gods just don't want Everton to win today, do they? So,
but to be fair to João Virginia, he come on and he wasn't massively tested, but other than the mix up with Godfrey, he was all right, wasn't he? I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, he had like you say, he had a bit, but as I say though, Burnley on this type of team to go and try and
get 4 or 5.
Yeah. They were happy with 2, and then just to sit back and just take it. I mean, it was probably like the classic old David Moyes, where you just get a lead, you go sit back, you're older, and then until they get a draw to go 2-2, then you go and put a sub on, don't you? Yeah. So I think in terms of that, they turned up, they done well, but like I said previously though, before this game in a preview, like. We're saying out, we should bat. We drew 1-1 at Burnley.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, they're a good side, Burnley, a good solid side. So, and then I looked at it, and you sort of looked at the other teams in the Premier League, what was going on in their results, and this was a massive game for Burnley. Yeah. This was probably a game where Burnley probably targeted. Yeah. You're looking at Everton's home record and things like that. Why wouldn't you think, like, if you were a Burnley fan, you sat there, you think, oh no, we'll have these today. Yeah. Especially coming off that Chelsea game.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So, in terms of that, but was there any real surprise?
No, certainly not to Evertonians, because again, it was, I said it, I was thinking before, I was on a little walk, still having to go on walks on a Monday when Everton get beat, but I was on a little walk before, and I was on my way home, and I thought, I could pretty much say to Tommy, should we just take the review from the Fulham game and just re-upload it, or take the review from the Leeds game, and it's funny, we sit here and we laugh about it, but it's true, because it's carbon copy pretty much every time. We're turning up at home, we're performing poorly, another team's turning up and playing like bloody prime Brazil, and we're losing the game, and it's the same sort of scenario, it's the same situation, and this is what needs fixing. It's the title of this live stream. We'll get back in the comments in a moment, by the way. Massive thanks to everybody, loads of comments today, really do appreciate it. It means a massive amount to me. If you're enjoying, by the way, leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new as well. Share the live stream. We'll try and get as many people involved as we can. But again, the title of the live stream is we must improve our home form or it'll cost us. And I honestly think we do. Like, Tom, I couldn't put it better myself, mate. You explained it before. The away form is fighting for the title. The home form is fighting for relegation. And that's where we are. That's the inconsistency of Everton this season, is we go away from home and you'd swear we were a team fighting for the Champions League, and then we go to Goodison and you'd think, bloody hell, these must be a side fighting to stay in the league, because we're absolutely atrocious. And for us, we may finish in a European competition this season, don't get me wrong, there's still a lot of games to be played, and I don't think that the fight for Europe is over. We may still finish in the Champions League, we may finish in the Europa League, but wherever we finish, we're not going to be there as a consistent challenger. We're going to be there because we've picked up some decent points and other teams around us have dropped. If we finish in the Champions League this season, I know it's a long stretch, but let's say we finish in the top 4, there won't be one Everton fan, myself, Tom, anybody anybody watching this, Joey, Zhao, Wormy, Phil, anybody watching the live stream, Semi, who will sit there and go, well, we finished in the Champions League, so that's it, we don't need to improve our squad, this squad's good enough. Every one of us will be sitting here saying, go out and improve massively, because we've finished there, and yes, we've had a decent season, yes, we've overachieved, but we've still lost some really poor games last season, and we can't be doing that. We can't be affording to do that. You look at, again, don't mean to go back, but you look at Chelsea last week, they're a team that are consistently fighting for the Champions League place. Look at the difference in quality between them and us. Look at the difference in squad between them and us. It's night and day, and ultimately, like we said, Jordan Pickford goes off, João Virginia comes on, had a little bit of a kerfuffle with Ben Godfrey, made a couple of, decent little saves, I suppose, got down on one occasion. There was one where a shot got fired at him and he saved it, and I thought, good save by Pickford that, and then I realised it was Virginia, and this is totally on me, and my heart dropped, even though he'd already saved it. My heart dropped after he'd saved it, because I thought, I forgot Jordan had gone off. But yeah, he come on and he done alright, and then we get back into the game. Nice little bit of play. Iwobi gets the ball on the right-hand side, plays a good pass into Tom Davies, and Tom Davies, whether you think he was at fault for the opening goal or not, completely redeemed himself. It's a great ball in, brilliantly weighted, fantastic height. Dominic Calvert-Lewin gets on the end of it, 2-1. And again, another thing I was thinking before, Tom, is if you'd ever seen a team that are 2-0 down, pull one back to go 2-1, and then just don't really have that push to go and get an equaliser. I mean, Burnley at that time when it went to 2-1 must have been thinking, right, these are going to come out firing now. These are going to come out like a house on fire, pushing. And we were pushing, but it wasn't like we were pushing with any real intensity. Again, we had a couple of off chances, and I want to talk about Dominic Calvert-Lewin, because I do think he missed 2 or 3 really clear chances that you can't be missing in these types of games. But we go 2-1 up, and you're sort of thinking, right, go out now, get an equaliser, and then go into half-time at 2-0, because this was still in the first half, by the way, so we still had a full 45 minutes and about 5 or 10 minutes of the first half to go. I was thinking, get another one, go in at 2-2, and then it's 0-0 at half-time. You come out and you're actually performing the second half, and you go and get the win. But it just wasn't the way, was it, mate, I suppose? And I don't know about you, but I just feel like Everton are the only team that can go 2-1, can get one back and have to make it 2-1 at home, and then just still not really look like we're going to get an equaliser. But I suppose it was a decent goal. It was nice from Iwobi to Davis, and then good header by Dom. Yeah,
it was a good play, but I think it was detriment to coming out again. It was sort of, it was the detriment to the tactics, weren't it, really? I mean, if you're going to change the tactics, then, and you're 2-1 down, it's been probably a really poor first half for Everton.
Yeah.
Why didn't he bring a sub on?
Yeah.
Why didn't he just switch it? Why have we got to wait for like 15 minutes to see how they do? They've just had 45 minutes and they were terrible.
Yeah.
Take someone off.
Yeah.
Try and switch it, try and do something. Because in terms of having Gomes and Iwobi there, they're poor.
Yeah.
Iwobi's poor on the right midfield, but he was never bought to be that.
Yeah.
Gomes, as like we said, we don't know what he is. I don't know how he gets on the pitch, but with in terms of these games and these type of games, listen, we've said all season about Dom improving massively, and he's been a big part of where Everton are at this point. But
absolutely.
He was discussing before the game, and he was having an interview, and he was talking about adding different goals to his game instead of just being into the 6-yard box. And he's talking up about Champions League and things like that. Well, this is where you've got to step up.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just simple as if you're gonna critique other players, you've got to. If he wants to put himself on that pedestal with other top strikers in this league, then unfortunately I'll analyse him as that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you've got to take it, and there was maybe six chances, I'd probably say, where Calvert-Lewin could have had 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Could have had. He scored, cracking header, very good movements, brilliant ball by Davies to score the first goal. Second chance, I think he was still in the first half, and
it was Alan. Alan played a great ball into him, didn't he? And his touch just.
No, but just before that,
okay.
it was a free kick, and I think it was Gomes actually sent it in, and he had a free header, and he just ballooned it.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen him bury them. They at least. I'm not saying score, but at least
work
do something for the goal.
Yeah,
work the keeper at least. And you get to the one with Luca Dean, and
mate.
I mean, what can you say really? I mean, it's for what Luca Dean was doing on the left back. I mean, he was brilliant at right mid.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Maybe that's a position we can look at.
Yeah, I mean, he took the ball brilliant on his left and just swung. And listen, that's Dominic Calvert-Lewin's bread and butter.
Yeah.
It just is. It's just, there's no excuses with that one from Dom. And then you're looking at the thing with Alan. You're looking at the one that Iwobi played in for the first half, and his touch again let him down.
Yeah.
Then I think it was, I don't know whether it was Davey. I think Davies played him in, and he sort of took it down nicely, but it hit his left foot when he come down. And I think Keane brought sent him in. It's just things like that where if he wants to go to this next level, he has to bury at least one of them, or at least start working the keeper. Absolutely. As much as what fans and all I can say and think back about Romelu Lukaku. Listen, he's got a long way to get to his level.
Yeah.
Especially in terms of them situations, because if you put them type of balls into Romelu Lukaku,
scores.
Listen, he was coming off the pitch with four goals. Simple as.
Yeah.
He was brilliant. He was brilliant, Lukaku, in them situations. So Dom's got to emulate that. He has to.
Yeah.
He can't just be a one-footed striker either. Especially with the Iwobi ball. The Iwobi's ball's driven into him. But he's gone with his right foot. If he went with his left in his inside of his left foot, and he'd have set himself up. He's got, as much as improvements he's made, if he wants to go to that Champions League level, he has to improve again. It's just simple as that.
I completely agree, and I think decision making's a big part, like you said. You know, times where he's going with his right foot when he could be going with his left foot. The Dean one for me, I think the Dean one, and it's not an excuse, but I think he'd put it down to concentration. I don't think he expected the ball, but ultimately when you're 2-1 down at home to Burnley, you have to expect every ball. And for me, it's a shocker. Like you said, it's bread and butter for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. It's a great chipped ball in by Dean, and he's on his own 10 yards away from Nick Pope, and it's not even like he heads it, it just hits him and goes out. It's like when you're playing as a group of kids on the street and you lash that ball in, and there's always that one kid who just can't head it, and it just hits him. He closes his eyes and it just hits him and goes out. It was like that, and like you said, the Alan one, his touch is too heavy. The Iwobi one early on in the game, where again he tries to go with his right foot when he should just go with his left. I think for me, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I love Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He's been excellent this season, absolutely excellent, and his goals have been fantastic. And you know, you could argue that where would we be without his goals, and that's all well and good. But just like 3 years ago, we said he's got a lot to improve on, and you know, even last year there was a lot of Evertonians saying he's not good enough to lead our line. Dom, I think, is the model professional. He's the model role model, if you like. He's got his head down. He's worked hard. He's, you hear people talk about him, and they always say he's the first in the training ground. He's always begging Duncan Ferguson to do shooting practice after training. He wants to improve. And that's all well and good. And he has improved massively. He's improved his positioning in terms of when balls are just coming off of the post, and he's there to put them in the back of the net, or when balls are going along the line. I think he's improved his mentality in terms of not being happy unless he scores, because he had interviews years ago where he said he used to be happy just going off the pitch. If we'd won, he'd be made up. Whether he scored or not, he'd just be made up. Now, if he doesn't score, he's a little bit frustrated. He's annoyed with himself. I think he's improved that. His aerial ability is improved, but like Tom said, and quite rightly so, I think you're spot on, Tom. If Dom wants to get to that level where we can all sit here and talk about Dominic Calvert-Lewin, but as Tom quite rightly said, we set our own expectations, and if we're putting Dominic Calvert-Lewin, if we let's just use international level for an example, if we're all sitting here at the end of the season saying Dominic Calvert-Lewin should be going to the Euros, he should be starting for England in the Euros, then we have to compare him to Harry Kane. Look at Harry Kane, look at Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Would Harry Kane have scored at least 2 or 3 of those chances Dom had yesterday? Yeah, he would have. He'd have buried the one on his feet. He'd have probably buried the header. He'd have maybe buried the one where Alan puts it into him as well, because his touch might have been a bit better. I think it's a brilliant point, Tom, because you have to start comparing Dom to the players that you want. If you want to compare Dominic Calvert-Lewin to Chris Wood, and a bad example because he scored the other day. If you want to compare Dominic Calvert-Lewin to, I don't know, Che Adams or Ollie Watkins, then yeah, you can compare them. You can say, yeah, again, both or 3 of them strikers that probably could do a bit better, improve a little bit more, but decent strikers. But we don't want to compare Dom to Ollie Watkins. We don't want to compare Dom to Che Adams. Not that there's anything wrong with those two strikers. They're decent players. We want to compare Dom to Dominic Calvert-Lewin. We want to compare Dom to Harry Kane. We want to compare Dom to Aubameyang. We want to compare him to the best strikers in the league. And if we're comparing him with the best strikers in the league, then you have to look at those strikers and think, would they have scored those chances? And I agree, Tom. I think they would have, and I think he should do a lot better. And I've got no issues with Dom. I really haven't. I've got no doubts, because I think he'll go away in the summer and he'll work on that. I think the next season we'll see a Dominic Calvert-Lewin who's a lot more clinical in front of goal. I think he'll work on his one-on-ones. I think he'll work on those opportunities where the ball falls him and he has to take it. I mean, we have seen it a couple of times this season. We saw it at Old Trafford for the equaliser where it fell to him and he took it. We need more of that, but we need more of Dom picking the ball up on the edge of the box. I mean, there was a stat in the Chelsea game. It wasn't the Chelsea game, it was the game, might have been West Brom, where he missed from about 12 yards out, and I think it was Sky Sports said that would have been his longest, sort of his furthest, don't know how to put it, a goal furthest away from goal, if you like, this season. Now I think it's like 9 yards out or something, whereas if he'd have buried that from 12 yards, it'd have been the furthest goal he scored. Now, for as much as you can say he could score 40 from 2 yards out, we don't care. He could, and that's great, and that's absolutely brilliant. But the reality of the situation is he's getting these chances 15, 16 yards out, 12, 10 yards out, and he's not taking them, and that's where he needs to improve on for me, and I completely agree. He had a plethora of chances on Saturday, and he scored the goal, which was great. It's a fantastic header. It was a great ball in, but again,
the key for it though, and what I like to play a little bit, not devil's advocate as such, is the fact that he's aware.
Yeah.
He's very aware of what he needs to improve.
Yeah, I agree.
Now that's a healthy thing to have, because he's not necessarily putting himself on these other strikers' levels as of yet, but he wants to be there and he sees his flaws.
Yeah.
Now that's a very good thing, and the way his attitude is towards training and things like that, then he will probably get there, but at this very moment in time, he's not.
Yeah.
He's listen, all this nonsense about championship play.
He is the top goal scorer in the Prem from open play, by the way, and I know that doesn't mean much in reality.
Yeah, but in terms of sort saying that, like, he's a Premier League striker, yeah. But we're not talking about Premier, like, him himself. We're not saying this. He's saying this.
Yeah.
He's saying he wants to be in Champions League. He wants to be played in Champions Leagues. So you've got to put him in that You've got to. Like, is he better than Erling Haaland? No.
Yeah. Absolutely.
No. There was I had a discussion on Twitter the other week, and it was, listen, a lot of fans have like I keep saying, Everton rose-tinted glasses, and we were talking about values and things like that, and a certain fella who, by the way, I got blocked as well. Nice one for that. He's on you're probably well aware. He does the I won't name his name, but he does the American Toffee podcast, and he just couldn't grasp how if Dominic Calvert-Lewin was doing this at Man City, that obviously his value is more than what it would be at Everton. But that's a whole different debate. But anyway, I asked him and another person that, what is the value of Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and he just went 100 million. I was like, 100 million? Who's paying 100 million for Dominic? Like, be deadly serious and take off Everton caps and everything like that. No one is paying 100 million for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. It just simply isn't.
Yeah.
He's not 100 million. Lukaku, we sold Lukaku for 80 million.
Yeah.
Can anyone honestly sit here and suggest he is better than Romelu Lukaku at this stage in his career? No, he can't. Yeah. He's got a lot of more improvements. He's done great, but he's not. He's probably pushing 60 million.
Yeah. And
that's just fact. I don't want to sugarcoat anything, and I don't want to play up to like, 100 million. No, it's utter nonsense. Yeah. He's a 60 million pound player. He's talking that he wants to go higher. So you've got to put him in that category. So for him to go from a 50 to 60 million pound player, he's got to do better. Yeah. It's just simple as.
I agree.
We're not digging him out or nothing. he's just got to do better.
Yeah, I agree, absolutely. And I think the biggest compliment Dominic Calvert-Lewin has is, for as much as we're saying he needs to do better and he needs to improve if he's going to be in that bracket, I like Tom's just said, like I'll say, I don't think any Evertonian will disagree, that we don't have any doubts that he will do better. I think that's the biggest compliment you can pay Dominic Calvert-Lewin, like Tom said, is that he's very, very aware of what he needs to improve on. And I think we can all sit here and we're not looking at a Dom thinking he needs to do better there, and is he going to do better? We're all sort of sitting here thinking he's still got a long way to go, but with his work rate and with the improvements that he's already made since he's come, I mean, this lad coming to Everton, and as Eden wasn't great, he wasn't rising above players, he wasn't in the right areas, he was running into the centre of midfield to pick the ball up, he wasn't a striker, let's put it that way, and look how much he's evolved over 3 or 4 years to become a really, really good striker. If he wants to be an amazing striker, he needs to improve further, and like Tom said, he's very aware of that, and I've got no issues that Dom will not come back next season and be slotting these one-on-one opportunities and be working on his shooting from outside the box, and his, we're finding himself into space and getting himself into space, and having a go from 20 yards and scoring those worldies that the top level strikers do. But no, I agree, and look, he missed another plethora of opportunities that he should have done better with. I think Richarlison missed 1 or 2 as well that you probably do better, expect him to do better with, and those are the difference makers in games like this, mate, is when you're 2-1 down against Burnley at home and you're missing opportunities like that. Those are, that's what wins your games, that's what loses your games. I know it sounds stupid just to say, oh, you don't take your chances, you don't win, but it's cliche, but it's true, isn't it? And ultimately, we didn't take our chances, and you don't get a lot of them against Burnley because they defend really well, they're structured, their style is effective, and that's just how they play. Let's get into the comments then before we go on, talk a little bit more, and then we'll finish it up. I know we've been here for an hour and 20 minutes. I apologise to everyone and Tom for keeping it for that long. Wim says, Iwobi should not have gone. Tom, our midfield was already watered and it only got worse. King should have gone off. I think King should have come on at right wing. Don't move Richie to suit King, who doesn't get started. Joey says Lukaku was a machine in the playground. He was exceptional, mate. Jab says, I didn't think when Davis came off, he's defensive midfielder, yeah, but he got 1 assist in 2 thirds of a season. Big deal. But he's not
there to assist. Things like that.
That's it.
He's there to dictate play, and he's a number 6.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? In terms like that, I mean, this whole assist thing, you get thrown at you every day on Twitter, like assists. Listen, assists are all well and good when the other fella goes and puts it in the net. Yeah. Simple as.
Yeah. I mean, how many assists would players have had yesterday if Dom was on target?
If you want to talk and discuss about it, you look at your expected assists. Look at that. Look at chances created. That's how you look at football. You don't just say, oh, he's got 8 assists, so he must be. Well, no, the fella behind him might have 3, but he might have created far more opportunities. Just that he might have a bum striker in front of him. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely. When he says like Iwobi, 24 now, can he learn good decision making or how to cross? Joey says apparently we rejected Haaland. Well, he had a trial. Yeah. A lot of players have trials.
I mean, listen, if you're picking up kids like that, thinking the world, then you're a very, very, very good scout. But listen, a lot of players go through a lot of clubs through the net. It's just the way it works.
Good point, actually. Don't be surprised if a lot of other Premier League teams passed on Erling Haaland as well. Obviously, we all know Everton because I think
he went for a trial at Leeds. He went for a trial at Manchester United.
There you go.
Like, it's just the way it is.
There you go. Luke says, hey, Cam, currently walking home from college and saw this, so I thought I'd join us. Right, Luke. Sammy says, wow, someone compared DCL to Haaland. Joey says he said wants to win cups at Everton. Cups need goals, keep them coming. Wayne says I don't know how much you can learn that stuff to an extent, yes, but there's a reason strikers are strikers and mids are not. I get that, but again, about Dominic Calvert-Lewin and sort of being a natural striker, and like Lukaku was very much a natural striker and knowing where the goal is and having that natural ability, and I suppose I understand to an extent, but what I would say is if you'd have told me 18 months ago that Dominic Calvert-Lewin would be on 15 goals in March, and the goals that he scored and the positions he'd been in, I'd have said nonsense, because he hasn't got that alien ability. He doesn't get in those areas. So
he can, because he's shown that he can learn very quickly. But in terms of I understand to a certain point a natural striker. I understand that. I know what he's saying in that point, but you'd never even consider a year or so ago that Dominic Calvert-Lewin would be a sort of this poacher in the box.
Yeah.
You'd never would.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't really rule out anything with that, lads.
Yeah, spot on. Semi says, I respect Dom wants to improve, but we've got to see results from it. It has to be more consistent and not missing sitters and should be converting. I agree. I think we all agree on that one. Jerry says, I said that's a Blue Boys network, similar pathway. Kane had to go out and learn his trade, whereas DCL got in early at Everton. DCL takes constructive criticism well, hence why he's improved thus far. Hopefully he plucks on. He doesn't moan if he doesn't do well. Spot on, he doesn't. And I think like the biggest compliment we can give Dom is he is aware that he isn't the perfect striker and that he needs to improve on stuff. Semi says, no one can question that. I love DCL, just don't understand why he switches off at times. Again, just probably is, maybe, I don't know, maybe maturity as a striker. I don't know. He's not
a striker who is going to be like a Harry Kane where he creates and things. Maybe further into his career where he has to adapt that when his speed and things and that like goes. But at this current moment in time, he's a penalty box striker. Yeah. So you've got to sort of work to his strengths. He has got sometimes good hold up play, very good, but he can't turn and go attack team. He just can't attack defence. He can't do it. But he knows he's got to improve that. Yeah. If you go listen to his interview, I don't know what it was on, but he talks very well. But he talks very well and open about is what he's got to improve.
Absolutely, I agree completely. Everton now suggests, Cam and Tom, how are we? Do you reckon we should focus on top 6 to the top 4, even though we have a game in hand and West Ham got nothing at Man United and Chelsea do against Leeds? I think we should just focus on starting to win games of football again, to be honest, and going game by game and see where we get to.
Listen, you've lost 2 and the old adage is you've just looked at it, and Everton are still 6th, aren't they? After, you know what I mean? Maybe they go 7th if Liverpool win tonight, but that's going to be a tall order, isn't it? So, listen, the fortunate thing for Everton is that they've got 10 games left, and they're still in the mix. No one's actually pulled away. I mean, let's call it reality. Is the fact that you can Champions League is just not happening.
Yeah.
They've got to get into Europe, and that's where Ancelotti will be panicking, because you go from a season where you're thinking this is looking very promising. Now, if this just tails off and we become maybe 9th, then the perspective changes and then the pressure's on.
Yeah.
Whether it's Carlo Ancelotti or not, regardless, the pressure's on.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And I'm not suggesting, I'm not saying pressure's on and saying you get that. I'm saying pressure's on for next season, because the whole perspective of fans change. Was like, well, we finished 9th.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's how you finish. It's how you finish seasons, not how you start. In terms of what fans think.
Absolutely.
It's just the way it is.
Absolutely, I agree. And when he says, I'm not having a go at Dom, he has scored a lot for us and his ethic is top notch, but he defo doesn't have that in his bag at 6 at the moment, and it's an issue. Yeah, and he needs to improve on it, and I think we're all in agreement that Dom needs to improve. So we go 2-1 up, we pull one back, and again we have a plethora of opportunities after that. We don't take them, and the game ends, and it's another home defeat. It's another disappointment, and I suppose, Tom, we're going to have to fix up on our form at Goodison Park, aren't we? Because we know if we don't finish in a European position, if we do finish 9th or 8th or whatever, we know the conversation's going to be. We may as well record the season review now and say, oh, if we'd have beaten Burnley, if we'd have beaten Fulham, if we'd have beaten Newcastle, we'd have finished here. It's at the moment our home form it's in dangerous territory of costing us a European position, and be it Champions League, Europa League, whatever it is. We need Europe for the improvement of in terms of the progression, like we've said, and progression is something me and Tom are going to sit down and talk about on a future video. But it certainly wasn't good enough again on Saturday, and something needs to change at Goodison Park.
Yeah, I mean we got I know we got City, but that's a massive game. I don't think we can just totally get rid of that. I hope they do pull out a performance against City, because we spoke in I think it was October, November, or I don't know whether it was December, after a few games we were discussing. We had a bit of a debate, didn't we, on here, where it was like I asked you the question whether what would you rather have, 4th, or would you rather have 9th in a trophy?
Yeah. And
we all went for the trophy in 9th, didn't we? So we can't really moan if we go and do that. But yeah, it's another massive opportunity. And City have shown that they're very capable of getting beat.
Yeah.
I mean, I know United doing and they're second and things like that, but if you watch that first half against Southampton, they looked all over the place, City, and maybe Everton could catch them unawares for the FA Cup, because they might have other eyes on other competitions and things like that. So let's just hope they do. And listen, if they turn them over, it's a huge opportunity now. I wouldn't be surprised if Everton then went and got beat by whoever's left in the thing. I think it's
Palace at home we play. Oh, you mean in the cup?
No, yeah, in the cup. I wouldn't be surprised if we went against got a semi-final against Sheffield United or Bournemouth and got buried 4-0. So I wouldn't think it wouldn't really be an issue, would it? So well, typical Everton. Jesus, been dealing with this club for years, mate. And you know what I mean, like.
Yeah.
Thing like you say, people talk about the 80s and we've had nothing.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are we doing still here?
Absolutely, that's it. Absolutely, and like.
But let's just hope they can change our minds.
Yeah. That's it, and like you said, we have to start improving. Look, our away record has been exceptional. Our home record hasn't been good enough. We know that, and that's a task for Carlo, and it's in Carlo's hands now. We all know it. He knows it. The players know it. We all know it as fans. The home form is abysmal. The performances at home are abysmal. The attitude at home is abysmal. The fact that we play like a fantastic team away from home, and we play like 11 random fellas at home, that needs to be changed, and consistency is a word that I've probably mentioned about 300 million times since I started this channel, but consistency is what gets you into Europe. Consistency is what, keeps you progressing year in, year out, and we just don't seem to have as much consistency as we need to have, certainly not when it comes to home performances. So yeah, there you go, spot on, Tom. Absolutely agree. We'll finish it up there then. Massive thanks to everybody for watching. Big thanks to everybody in the live comments. Sorry we couldn't get involved with them all. Absolutely tons of comments tonight, so really do appreciate it. If you're watching as a YouTube video, leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. Leave the stream a like if you have enjoyed it. Don't forget to check out Tom in the description as well. Go and follow him on Twitter. He'll be obviously on the channel an awful lot more. In fact, he may as well join to own the channel now, because he's on it more than I am at the moment. But we love having Tom on. Tom, anything to say before we finish it up, mate?
No, yeah, it's just I wouldn't go down this negative route, like the world's gonna end over Everton. You know what I mean? Yeah. Unfortunately, it's just football at the end of the day, but it affects us in a big way. But listen, you look back 3 weeks ago, or maybe a little bit further, in February, we beat Liverpool, we went and beat Southampton, and we went and beat West Brom. We've just had 2 defeats back to back. It is what it is. Absolutely. We've had this before in the season. We go again. We've got Crystal Palace and Brighton. Hopefully, listen, if you go and win them 2 games, then it's a whole different mindset, isn't it, going into them last games of the season? And anything could happen at this moment in time. Let's just hope that Tokore's quickly got a new ankle or whatever he's done, and we go again, don't we?
That's it. Absolutely spot on. Well, massive thank you to Tom for joining us as per usual. Massive thanks to everybody in the live comments. Semi says, good to see him, take care everyone, come on you Blues up the toffees, cheers. And Wimmy says, take care guys, cheers everyone. Massive thanks for watching. Big thanks to everybody in the live comments. If you watch this YouTube video, big thanks for watching, and leave your comments in the comment section. Leave a like if you've enjoyed, subscribe if you are new, and we'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.